Welcome back to New Realities. I am very excited to have my favorite astrologer, my favorite broadcaster of the future with us today, Raquel Spring. And she is a visionary. She's not just an astrologer. I think you're a weather reporter of the cosmic energies. So we are moving into some very exciting times. Like you said, in other broadcasts, it's the beginning of something new. What something new in what way do you see it?
Hi, Alan. Hi, everyone. Thank you for welcoming me back. It's always a joy to exchange time with you because you are so right in line with the paradigm that I see coming into the planet. And it's just such a joy to talk to you about these things. I
Oh,
feel like we're all on the same page and we get it. We get it.
yes.
So thank you for having me here.
Of course. No,
And
you are a visionary, and I love talking to original voices like
yeah,
you. So this is a new time because, like you've said in other broad, Pluto has moved into Aquarius.
yeah.
And you've talked about it before, but what does Pluto signify? And I think a lot of us know what Aquarius means, but what does
Mhm.
that mean for a new epoch?
Well, the Pluto is the planet of complete transformation, complete, so much so that it's associated with death and rebirth. So this is a complete shift from what used to be to what it is becoming.
Hmm.
So Pluto in astrology, that's the way it works. And that's why when you see Pluto coming around, or when you have a contact from one of your planets with Pluto, it really is that element of complete metamorphosis. So Pluto will stay in a sign for longer than any other planet. He is the
Hmm.
slowest moving planet. So he will stay in a sign for many years, bringing collective transformation in the energies of that sign. So this is a period that can last up to a few decades as well, because Pluto is moves very slow. And so he has been since 2008 in Capricorn. You may have heard this already. Transiting Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008. And since then, he has been slowly bringing the metamorphosis of the old structures. That's the key signature of Capricorn is structures, foundations. So all of the foundations, especially when you're looking at the collective picture and the world, we're looking all at all the structures of society, of the world that have literally been going through a process of metamorphosis since 2008. It all just recently culminated, right, with the COVID and just all the recent events that we've had. And the events that have been happening in the last few years have merely been catalysts for these shifts to occur. So it doesn't matter what angle you're looking at it. If it wasn't COVID, it would be something else. So it is time. That's just the cosmic weather report. It's time. And as I always say, I'm just the messenger. I'm just the messenger.
But you're a great messenger. It's time for
It's
what did we say yesterday? A new way of thinking, a new way.
Yes, so this is where now Pluto going into Aquarius is bringing, first of all, just the sheer virtue of Pluto going into Aquarius is bringing a new dynamic because whenever he shifts from one sign to another, we're ready for metamorphosis in the next sign. So just that alone is already giving us enough momentum to bring change. Now, when we take into consideration everything else that's happening in the cosmos, because Pluto's not the only planet in the solar system, and all the other alignments and all the other cycles, and including the famous age of Aquarius, and when we take all of that into consideration with Pluto entering Aquarius, we see that this is truly the beginning of a new paradigm for reality. So this is
Mm,
what we were talking about the other day. It literally is a new paradigm. And we were discussing the importance of seeing that and understanding that from all perspectives, because this new paradigm is coming in from all angles because the true shift that is happening, the true new paradigm that is happening is a shift in consciousness. So because the world different, we start to see things in a different way. And the old doesn't work anymore. We need new, we need more. And in this process, we are going through that metamorphosis from leaving the transformation of the structures to now beginning the transformation of consciousness. And even this, Pluto in Aquarius will be a transit that will last for 20 years. So even these 20 years are so small in comparison to the bigger shift of the age of Aquarius really coming in the picture. And so this is a bigger shift for the next couple thousand years. And it really is speaking of a brand new paradigm for reality.
So when we say brand new paradigm, do we really know what that is? Because the paradigm, sort of like the environment you're in. So we could say it's a brand new paradigm, and that's great. And I've said it too. But let's formulate what the thinking process of an Aquarian paradigm would look like that's different from what we already know. And that's what I'm interested. How will we?
The new paradigm is really shifting to embrace and encompass the Aquarius energy. So if you know anything about, well, you know something about Aquarius because you're an Aquarius sun.
Yes.
But we all have Aquarius in our charts, even if there are no planets there. So for example, my South node, which is also my past life indicator, is in Aquarius. And so this is why I feel so strongly that Aquarian vibe, that new energy coming in. But other people may have other planets in there. You may have a Mars in Aquarius, a moon in Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius. And even if you don't have any planets in Aquarius, you have a field of your life, an area of your life that we call a house that has the sign of Aquarius. So everybody shares in this energy equally, especially now that it's awakening for all of us. So we all have Aquarius and we're all opening that door together. So
Go ahead. No. Oh, go ahead. You continue talking go ahead, because I had just a question. Go, please.
Oh, okay. Well, the paradigm of Aquarius, this is what we need to look at to understand what is the metamorphosis we're going through. And there, of course, there are many, 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 many things that Aquarius represents. But one of the most important things as a starting point to be aware is that Aquarius is associated with the new and radical way of doing things. Aquarius is known for being the rebel. He also is associated with revolution, even if it comes with a little chaos. Aquarius can be associated with a little rattle and shake, and because Aquarius's function is to wake people up to new possibilities, because the energy of Aquarius is about the future. This is why in the picture that you asked me for, I have the future begins now. Because Pluto coming into Aquarius is where we're now opening the door to the future. We did not have access to this door even a year ago or 2 years ago. And people were trying to speed up the process and go through that. But everything has its timing, and we were not ready yet to open the door to new beginnings because Pluto was still in Capricorn. We were still finishing that whole cycle of foundations and the security and structures of society. So now we are touching the doorknob, if you will, touching the doorknob of the future. And now we are ready. And it's so exciting because now we are ready to open that door and see what that new paradigm looks like. And it will be a process of the next few years that we're going to be, if you want to know about dates and things like that, there's going to be a few years to come, and we're easily going to go through the rest of this decade going through big shifts in society. But this is 2024 is where we're actually holding that doorknob for the first time.
The first time in human history, because we didn't even know of Pluto before. So when a planet is discovered, it becomes a conscious awareness. It may have affected us in cycles, but if it's not known And it's what Aquarius is about.
I
Aquarius for
know.
me
And
is
the
about,
last time that Pluto was in Aquarius, we had just discovered the ruler Uranus. So yeah, I hear what you're saying. It comes in stages. I truly believe that 250 years ago, average, we introduced, this was the first, very, very first introduction of the age of Aquarius. Very, very,
wow.
very, very first. This is the second stage. Okay, this is the second stage right now. The third stage will be when Pluto comes again 250 years later into
Mm,
Aquarius. It's a huge cycle, 250
right.
years. And then this is where we're going to be fully, like full blown in the age of Aquarius.
But when Pluto was in Aquarius last time, it was the age of Pisces, and Piscean energy
Good point.
is so different. And that's what I want to talk about. So we've been thinking Piscean's sort of way, which is, well, what is it? It has rulers, it's devotion, it's hierarchy. Talk to
Yes.
me, because
So
that's
that,
all dropping away. All
yeah.
that old flaming is
Oh, I
changing.
know you and I feel that so deeply, Alan. I love that
Yeah.
about you. Alan is like always on the forefront of like, what's the new? That's because he's an Aquarius sun. What's the new? Aquarius, let's do it. Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. We're coming from 2000 years of evolution in the lens, as I call it, through the lens of Pisces. So that means that
Mhm.
the last 2000 years, humanity has been viewing the world and reality through the lens of Pisces. And we go through these periods of a couple thousand years with
Mhm.
evolutionary focus on a specific sign or through a specific sign. We are receiving that energy from the constellation, from the stars of that constellation. So for the last 2000 years, we were meant to evolve with the energy of Pisces. And
Right.
that was beautiful. That was, had a lot of moments where the main function of that was to awaken us to spirituality. And
Mhm.
ultimately, the concept that today we come to understand as higher selves. Higher selves, it's such an Aquarian energy, the higher self, right? That godlike self. Well, we couldn't jump from A to Z, so we started with the heart, with Christ, with religion, with
Mhm.
avatars, with masters, with teachers, in all these different forms of accessing deeper truths of spirit.
Mhm.
And in this process, there was a reverence that we have maintained for certain figures like Christ,
Mhm.
masters, Buddha. And these have all been incredibly important for us in our evolutionary process these last 2000 years. But essentially, all of them were paving the way, including religion in its own way, paving the way for us to come to this stage where we would be ready to wake up to our true divine nature. And so we don't need the middleman anymore. And this is where all of our avatars and masters and teachers, really brothers and sisters, have come here to show us the way, to be an
Mhm.
example of that, even though we didn't fully understand and we had to be taught with other words and other concepts and other principles, including
Mhm.
prayer, including meditation. And that was all perfect. But now we're in
Mhm.
a new paradigm. So even the concept of prayer, meditation, that's all shifting. That's all shifting.
It
So with
is.
Aquarius, things are instantaneous. With Aquarius, it's all about enlightenment. Aquarius is about turning on the light bulb. And as I was speaking about in that interview that you're mentioning, I refer to the Pisces as we're coming out of the Piscean sleep, the Piscean slumber, because Pisces is also associated with sleep. And so,
Mhm.
in many ways, we are coming out of this very almost hypnotic state of spiritual awareness and love and toning and prayer. And all these things are so beautiful, but it's not going to be enough for people nowadays. People want to wake
Yeah.
up, people want to feel the electricity in their bodies, they want to feel
Mhm.
alive, awake. Their minds are ready to reach that state of enlightenment. So, because of that, now with Aquarius in the picture, it's all about the awareness factor.
Right.
Aquarius, Pisces is associated with emotions, with the heart, with unconditional love. And that is very, very important because we cannot reach enlightenment or higher states of awareness without the factor of the heart. But now we have to honor the fact that we are ready for this new beginning. And people are ready. We are ready to do it different. And so, for example, a concept like meditation doesn't necessarily need to be do an hour of yoga, sit there with your legs crossed. Sure, it's always going to be available, but now it's like the living and breathing aliveness of more of the effects of meditation instead of being in a meditation. But people want to have that all the time throughout the day.
Right.
So,
It's consciousness. It's really the focus on
yeah,
consciousness. And as we elevate the heart to a bigger field, that's what I feel. And one thing I've been writing about and been
bigger field,
about this,
beautifully said.
this television show, this podcast, whatever you want to call it, new realities. What does that mean? How does reality formulate itself differently? And I say, and I've talked about and wrote about this, you can't recognize what you have not cognized. Recognition is the re-understanding, but the Aquarian age is about new cognitive features, new awarenesses. This is
Mm,
Uranus. And
beautiful.
so, and Pluto opening the door with the Uranian energy, right? Because it's part of that conjunction there.
Yeah,
I mean, in the sign anyway of Aquarius,
yeah,
it
yeah.
gives us,
Because Uranus rules Aquarius. Yes.
right. So it gives us new possibilities of cognizing new realities. That's new neural nets of understanding start to make different connections. So we're actually seeing a different field. Does that sound right?
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. And this is where there is pain or suffering is when we resist that. When we try
Mm,
to hold on to the old models or the safe way of doing things. This is not about safety anymore. This is about daring, being bold, taking initiative, taking risks into this new paradigm of the future. And so the idea of very beautifully said, what you said, we need to have the capacity, first of all, we need to have the capacity, right, to receive that much information and new information. And then we need to work through those faculties. And what I mean by work is not like before. We don't need to work that much because it's already in place. So it doesn't take much anymore, but it does take a level of commitment and focus to activate these centers. This is why
mhm,
many people are starting to experience new gifts, new abilities, or their already existing gifts are more enhanced because
mhm,
we are in that paradigm now that we are ready to wake up. So, society, we are going to see aspects in society also shift to reflect that. We are
mhm.
going to see things like technology. We are going to see things like a lot of new ideas, new systems for the financial systems, new educational systems, completely brand new paradigms because people are ready for new. People are not going back to the old. So
Mhm.
now this is about opening up to the new solutions. And as far as like technology comes, into the picture, this is just a given part. Aquarius is associated with technology. It's
Right,
also associated with science. So we are going to
right,
start seeing new scientific discoveries, and all of those things are here to help us with this cognitive process. And
right.
this is why it's so important when it comes to technology and especially AI for us to be very mindful of why this is happening. It's not
Mhm,
happening to take over the world unless we allow it to. It's happening to push us to rise together so that we can even interface or interact or have this dynamic of existing together, because this is what is going to also propel the acceleration of our human reality. And so, because we're ready for that acceleration of human consciousness and what comes from that consciousness, we are inviting a new paradigm through science, through technology, and many other aspects of society
right.
too.
Right. So you know what's changing in the UFO world, because that's one of my little
Mm,
projects or my interest. I mean, it's a big interest actually. So people are shifting from just technology to consciousness, to understanding, like everyone wants to know the nuts and bolts. And now people are saying, I say you can't understand the technology until you understand how the beings who built the technology think.
Yeah.
So consciousness and technology are merging in the new understanding of the UFO situation. So and this is what's coming out from government insiders. You can't separate the psychic from the technological. They are somehow, science and mind are connected when you're studying this phenomenon in ways we have yet to understand. This is the Aquarian little carrot dingling in front of us that we're grabbing for. How do we understand the science and technology of consciousness, which AI is alluding to, but in an artificial way? Yeah. You know, when I talked to Deepak Chopra and I talked to him about this book I wrote, he says, oh, it's all consciousness. And I say, no, Deepak, what is the application of consciousness? And the technology of consciousness is what you're bringing in for me with what you're saying. How do we?
Yeah. Very well said. And that we need to bring awareness. Those are important questions, Alan. Thank you for asking him that. You know, thank you. Thank you for, it's important for us to ask these questions because we can't deny, we can't run away, we can't ignore, we can't go to the Piscean era, back to the Piscean era, and put the rose-colored glasses and say, no, it's not going to happen. We have to come to terms with the fact that science is ready for an advancement. And there will be aspects like technology that is also going to be rising with it. Now, we have to be extremely mindful because the ones with power right now and have that AI script are for the most part with an agenda. So this is, of course, where we have to be not in fear, not trying to, resist or fight, but we have to be mindful of our choices. All the way from, purchasing our next gadget that's going to help make our life easier. This is really about understanding that we need to be rising together with all of this. This can't be done in the old model of like, oh, let technology do things for us. This is my, my phone or my pet robot that's just going to do things for me. If you're going to stay in that mentality, yeah, technology is going to rise really fast and leave humanity way behind. That's not the future I'm in. So, but anyway, we are definitely being given an opportunity and being pushed to rise fast. Because if we don't, other things around us are going to keep rising. So it's important for us to ask these questions. And how are we going to introduce these aspects of technology and science into reality? And that's why I feel that we have these next 250 years to figure that out. It's very important. This is the starting point. This is the starting point.
Yes, but there can be no technology higher, I feel, than consciousness itself.
Oh, absolutely. And this is what we're learning. This is what we're realizing here.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty obvious to us, right? But what you said about the alien and UFO movement, this is also an attribute of Aquarius. Many people know, because I say this every time, but Aquarius is associated with the cosmic family.
Yes.
That is the signature of Aquarius. This is why Aquarius symbolizes connection, right? But it's not just connection with humanity. It's not humanity. Actually, Aquarius is the stars. So it's the whole family. And so it's just a given. It's another thing that it's time. And this is where I have so much love and respect for people like you who have been paving the way for this moment. So humanity can now open the door and be like, oh yeah, there's, but someone had to start that work from the very beginning. And it was a challenge, bringing this out in mainstream society. And so little by little, we have paved the way. And this is the year, Alan, where we have the first new beginning of new energies coming in. So anything in relationship to the cosmos, I say we're going to be finding new planets in the solar system and discovering that now there's this over here and now, or that information is just finally going to be available to us. But it's a new paradigm that now with Pluto and Aquarius, we can access. Before it was kept hidden from us. Now we have access to that. So we will be seeing more information and a lot more things coming from that whole UFO cosmic family. Both our spiritual connection to them is going to shift, but also the physical aspect of paving the way to interface with them, like you were talking about.
No, and what I'm also thinking is, as you're talking about all this, is how did these people, whoever created astrology and the resonance with different frequencies, how did they know? How they map out this 26,000 years of future that the great cycle moves through and feel that it's this time is now? I mean, they've looked at the stars, of course, there's nothing else to look at, but are we fitting into a model that has been planned out, or is the energy so alive, and maybe it is in you, where we're just able to access what this time is about? Does that make sense? So are we fitting into a model that's been laid out, or is
Yeah,
someone like you, whose
yeah.
life is about astrology,
Mm.
bringing fresh
That's a
thoughts?
good question, Alan. I hope other people understood your question, but that's a deep question, deep question. I will share what I feel about this because obviously this is a massive perspective. I feel that you could say that it has been laid out for us, but that's not the truth. The truth is that time doesn't exist. So, beyond this dimension. So it actually already all has been planned, and it's just the way that we see it here. It looks like it's from the past. So what I'm looking at here is the evolutionary cycles that humanity goes through, but also most important, as I always like to bring up our beloved Gaia. To me, this is about her ultimately, and we evolving on her is aspects of her. They're aspects of her that are also evolving. So ultimately, this is about the evolution of the planet, and of course, humans on the planet. And we have this pattern to fulfill, if you will. There is a precise order and harmony in the cosmos, and everything is in perfect order. So we have these cycles that we need to go through. And so
Mhm.
that's why, for example, one way that I like to look at it is the opposite polarity of Aquarius is Leo. So this is something I also talk about sometimes in my talks, that we have a direct access with the age of Leo from this straight line polarity point. Even though you can look at the zodiac as a circle, it is divided into these 12 parts. So each one has the polarity, right? So if we're looking at this straight line across from Aquarius, we're looking at Leo. And so all it takes is that one step and we're back in Leo. And so this is why we've had so much of that energy from that era also be so alive for us, and so much curiosity of, from the time of Atlantis and the time of Lemuria, and all those lives, if you will, that stage of life came from the age of Virgo and the age of Leo. So this is an energy that we have direct access to, and the way that I honestly see it and feel it is that it's happening right now. It's all happening right now. So when I look at things that have been laid out for us, because I did have my crisis with free will. I'm like, wait a minute, do we have free will? When I learned astrology, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Do we even have free will? So how does this work with things that have been laid out for us? After a couple years of my own quest, and just I went down the rabbit hole with that one. That was a big one for me. But after a couple years, I came to the realization, after many things, I came to the realization that we have an outline. We have an outline, like you can think of it as the skeleton, right? The overall structure of something. So you have the paradigm. So you could look at this as the paradigm of Aquarius. What does Aquarius symbolize? How is that? How does it work hand in hand with Leo? And what is the overall structure of this room that we are in? But once you're in the room, once you're in the structure, You have your free will. You have the ways that you can go this way, or you can look at it as, a labyrinth, if you will. Like there are, different routes and different roads. But at the end of the day, you got to find that door. You got to find that outcome. This is
Mhm.
why we have 2,000 years to figure it out. Look at how when the age of Pisces started, I mean, when we had Christ come in the picture, that's when it began. It was persecution, it was death, we had a whole era of Christians and all kinds of women that were burned at the stake. And look at how we had to learn to
Mhm.
finally be here to realize, like, oh, we have a heart, we have a soul, we have a higher self, right? So we have the room to experiment with what that means. And so this is where, if we're looking at the paradigm of technology inside the age of Aquarius, and what does that mean? There are different ways we can explore this, and we're going to have 2,000 years to figure it out.
Right.
Now, there's no way you can't say it's not going to work, or we're going to fail. There is no such thing, because there is that door, that end door, that is going to be waiting for us. So it's important for us to know that regardless of how we choose to move around it, we're all still going to find the same door at the end. Okay.
Right.
But
Right.
the structure, yes, the structure is laid out the same way that a natal chart, when you're born into this planet, you have your natal chart, and there are certain parameters that you are guided through, and there's
Mhm.
no way around it. You come with
Right.
certain attributes, certain parts of your personality in a way to keep you in that room of evolution. But then once you're in that room, you can play around with,
Mhm.
you
But
want
you
to
know
marry
what's
this
so
person
great
or that
about
person.
you? What
Mm,
I really like about your work is that you are using your body as an instrument of knowing. So you're feeling the energies coming through you. You're not just looking at textbooks or figuring out
yeah,
from what other people have known. Talk about your own access, because that's very Aquarian. You're accessing astrological energies through your own embodiment, and in a way rewriting the book on astrology in a sense.
absolutely. As a matter of fact, I don't read books. I don't listen to, just because I don't have time. But I also, yeah, there's just something to be said about getting that information fresh, like
Mhm.
fresh from the source. So
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely, everything that I speak about, I have experienced it, like you said, in my body. I have gone through, it's been a process of years for me to understand in my body through cellular knowing. And this is why when I speak about it, I can activate those things in you. You feel my energy. It comes
Yeah.
through every pore of my being. It comes from my experience.
Yes. So what are
Mm.
you feeling as this, just without having referenced all that material, as this Pluto energy is now really settling into Aquarius? It just entered it like what is it, 5, 6 days ago. So it's
Mm.
still fresh. What actually are you feeling physically and consciously and psychically and all those, I guess you're talking about, but what can you relay to us as the essence of the embodied feeling?
So there are two groups here. There's the group that doesn't know what's going on,
Mhm.
and there's the group that knows what's going on, or it has at least that general understanding of the things we've been
Mhm.
speaking about here. And the people that don't know what's going on or are not ready, they may go through a bit of a shock, because this is the year that we are bringing in new beginnings. Now, it may not be fully apparent in society yet. I mean, the US still needs to go through elections, and there's still more to come. But we are opening that door. So things around us physically are shifting. This is one of the most important things that I want to share right now, because just this period, literally, as soon as Pluto entered Aquarius, in this whole little window here that we've been in, I've had so many people contacting, freaking out, and asking for help or support. Why? Because all of a sudden things are just happening that they weren't expecting. Some of them are important events, big events, and people are just, what is happening? Our paradigm is shifting.
Mhm.
So the first thing that I want to recommend is for people to just really be aware of the process and go with the flow. Because if something is being, let's say, taken away from you or shifted in your reality, trust that it's for a reason.
Mhm.
Trust. There's something so important about this. And you can start by asking yourself, with every situation that comes to your life that might even be uncomfortable, you can ask yourself, what is the true reason for this? What is the true reason for this? Because everything has a reason. Everything has a reason. And if something is shifting, including outside of your control right now, it's because you are ready for this shift. So Pluto in Aquarius, he will not do things calmly or taking its time. Aquarius has a very unpredictable nature. So you don't know when it's going to happen. And Pluto has a very transformative nature.
Mm.
So this is going to be an exciting year, and things are going to be happening to level out the ground so we can start to build a new foundation. So
Right.
that's part of the perspective. But now the other people like us that are welcoming this, this is a very exciting year. We've been waiting for this moment. We've been waiting for this year, Alan. You and I, along with a handful of people, this is our lucky break, if you will. This is where we are finally given that microphone, finally given a voice to speak and be heard. Because now people are ready to hear this more
Mm.
than before. The world is ready to receive this energy. So this is where we, in many ways, are giving birth to that new light that we've
Right.
been paving the way for all these years.
I love your excitement and enthusiasm and embodiment of it. What I'm getting
Mm.
as you're speaking, because I'm taking this in, I'm saying, well, Aquarius or all the signs when we're in the signs gives us certain gifts or perspective, ways of knowing. In the
Mhm.
Piscean age, it was faith and belief.
Mhm.
And in the Aquarian age, it's consciousness and gnosis, knowing. It's
Exactly.
so where faith, it's great. And we had all those Piscean religions and all that stuff that it gives way to an inner awareness of conscious knowing, of more than just intellectual knowing.
Yeah.
It's combining the intuitive with the logical and becoming whole brain beings in a sense. So it's this using consciousness as a manipulation of reality. And this is what, create your own reality, all the things that we've heard about for the last 20 years. But now we have the energy available to us to actually apply those possibilities in a more powerful way. Does that
Yeah,
sound right?
absolutely. I use that same, I say the same thing. I say faith is just a starting point. Faith is just a starting point. After faith, there's knowing. So I say
Exactly.
that. Yeah, it's and that's exactly right. The Piscean age is the age of faith. It's that's why you're having faith on something, right? And you have that either God or religion or something that you are looking to. But there is something happening here with the evolution of that, which is the knowing aspect. And this is where technology also comes in and science comes in to validate that knowing. That's why it all works hand in hand. It all the aliens, the everything works hand in hand. But this is an age of knowing. This is also why I've been just, silencing the voices, going within, really just receiving that information from myself, because this is the age of enlightenment that we're talking about. This is the ability to turn on that God spark and to become this creator being in physical form. So in order for that to happen, you have to have a level of knowing. This is inner knowing. This is the evolution of faith, right? It's very exciting. Very exciting.
Myself just to be quiet. But we need the understanding of Pisces as a feeling sense so we can feel what it's like to know. We
Yes.
needed that foundation.
And
Okay.
we still have it. Like we're coming from it. We're not closing that door completely. It's there. We've evolved
Right.
from it. So it's just about understanding what have we learned from this era and how can
Mm.
we take what we learned into the new one that we're entering. So yeah, the
Right.
awareness without the heart, it doesn't work. We've already proven that to ourselves. So it really is about uniting now what we've learned about the heart and love. And now from that place, allowing the mind to wake up and to expand. So this is
Right.
actually a time of new solutions as well. We're
Right.
going
So
to,
we're grounded in the heart in the feeling sense. We're grounded in where that's our foundation, because without that, a lot of people accuse Aquarians of being just intellectual and not feeling, but because we've processed our incarnational experiences through that evolution from, the what was it, Capricorn, Pisces, all that has come into the incarnational moment of the Aquarian epoch that we're in now, that we're approaching. We have that foundation of, what was before Pisces was Aries, that kind of sense of self, that ego sense of self that comes with the Aryan age into the Piscean age, where we can then
which is the dissolution
feel,
of self.
yes, and then the knowing of the higher self, which is now what's being activated from those foundations.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I see it. So going into the future, as we now, the future is now, what is, and it's all unformed, you're absolutely right. There's no roadmap to, I mean, of course, it's laid out in the stars, but we have to find our way through the stars. How is the next step of feeling new cognitive awarenesses, is what I've been trying to understand, um,
Mhm.
the adventure of moving forward. So I'm asking you, what can we see as signs that the future is arriving in a new way? I guess that's my question to you. Is there,
What do you mean by the new signs, like in ourselves or in
well,
the world?
well, what can we look for to see that the Aquarian values are replacing the old Piscean value? What
Yes.
resonates?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
beautiful. Well, one of the big keywords that I love to use with Aquarius is freedom. That's a
Hmm.
huge one.
Yeah.
Okay, Aquarius is associated with freedom. They need freedom. Actually, Aquarius, they are very independent. So this is an attribute that you could look for right now, and you can even see in our reality how people are more and more wanting that freedom, right? This is all
Mm-hmm.
perfectly happening as well. Anyway, the USA is coming to the closure of a full cycle as well with
Mm.
from the starting point of this country when we founded this country. I'm saying we as if I'm from Brazil, but yes, we.
Oh, you're a citizen. You're here. You're with
I just
us.
turned a citizen, so yes, we. I totally embrace this country as my own. Totally, I have so
Yeah.
much love for every part of the evolutionary process of this country, and we are in a new beginning now. So this is also coinciding with everything else that's happening. So it really is a new beginning, a new paradigm, also for what freedom means, what human
Mm.
rights means. And this is a time that we are looking at restoring some of that freedom, the independence as well that people are all ready for. This is going to
Oh,
come to all levels, individually,
so
as a society.
you're saying Aquarius, Pluto was in Aquarius in the founding in 1776 or whenever that was. That was the one cycle of Pluto in Aquarius, right?
It was at the very end of Capricorn. That's why Pluto
Wow.
finishing Capricorn now since COVID began, it was the beginning of the end up until this point. So we just
Wow.
completed that. We just completed the full cycle of
Mm.
Pluto from when we started this country. So that's why Pluto now in Aquarius is like new beginning is so we're so primed for new beginning.
Mm.
So freedom is one of them. And
Mm.
this is going to be mainly coming from an independent way of thinking and seeing the world. So that is what I'm encouraging people, because you can't go out there and fight for your freedom if you have not resolved things inside. You can't go and, that paradigm is also done. So you have to really get things straightened out first here and really anchor in what is independence for you. Because when I teach about this, and I also use astrology where we can look individually at what is your language for this, what are you ready for? But independence is nothing more, nothing less than receiving your own information, having your own visions, your own inspiration, not necessarily needing to be told what to do or be informed through the TV. It makes me laugh. It sounds so primitive, but being told through the TV what to wear, what to eat, what to do, it's just like we're leaving that paradigm. And it's so beautiful because it has to do with the concept that you said. How can we be ready to interface? And I say this all the time as well. How can we be ready to participate in these galactic meetings, right? We have all these federation, how can we even want to think of being a part of all of that if we haven't even managed the very basic principles of being a human? And so one of this is that power, that autonomy that comes from us. And it doesn't depend on, oh, my neighbor did this, or my wife yelled at me, or no, we have that internal guidance system. And from that place, we can then step into what? Autonomy. Autonomy in our work, autonomy in our lifestyle. And that is the only place that we can then lead. So this is what all the cosmos is waiting for us to reach to that stage. And so this is what we're very prime right now to access. This is what I mean by freedom, to just really be yourself.
Well,
and
let me ask
from
you.
this place we connect with community. From this place we start aligning with who else is out there that is like-minded, like-hearted, and then we start to create visions together.
Let me ask you if this is a symptom of Aquarian energies. And because there's a guy named Donald Hoffman, he wrote a book called Case Against Reality, where he's saying time and space itself are illusions. They are immaterial. They're not real, because the only thing that's real is the presence of consciousness that uses form. So when we start to dissolve these ideas of time and space, all we have left is the presence of consciousness. So I feel that's a breakdown of a very old paradigm that has restricted us and confined us. And when we realize that we are the power behind time and space in that higher level, then everything really changes. That's, for me, an Aquarian moment, an Aquarian.
I was even going to say, Alan, as usual, you're steps ahead, because that's exactly. And that goes back to the question that you asked about having things predetermined or not. It's that there is no space and time. So it's all in consciousness. So we are experiencing right now the age of Aquarius and the age of Leo simultaneously. And they are also malleable. Is that how you say malleable? Like,
yes.
Nothing is set in stone. The way that we make our choices here directly influences that and adjusts things over here, and vice versa. It's continuously going, and it's all happening in consciousness.
Right. Consciousness now over the external reality is the prime directive. This is what I'm getting from what you're saying about all the Aquarian attributes. So consciousness, freedom. Just give us another one or two. And then I know you have a big day ahead of you because you're always busy and you're always working with people. And Raquel does incredible, it's life-changing readings. I really couldn't sleep for 2 days after your last.
Oh my gosh, Alan, really? It was that impactful.
Something really, really was. It's a transmission. It's not just the reading, it's a transmission.
That's the thing. It's not just information. It really is an awakening. So when I share things with you, it's waking up that information in your cells and you feel it. So I didn't know you didn't sleep for 2 days, my dear.
Well, I think it could have been the full moon too, and all that,
That
right?
too, yeah, some powerful energies. But yeah, it's an honor to be able to assist, whether it's through private sessions or my astrology school, where I mentor and guide people through these monthly energies. Every month we come together to
Mm,
see and understand how to navigate, what's there,
right.
what's available for us.
And it's
So
raquelspring.com if you want to get in touch with her. Or
yeah, you can feel free to write me and, however I can help you and support you during this time. It'll be my
right.
honor to. So yeah,
But,
Raquel Spring, my name is also my website,
mm.
raquelspring.com.
So just give us a few more symptoms of Aquarian influx that we can then hold on to and find new ways of working, of living, of being, of relating. It's an Aquarian ball field, and we are entering as players in this new time. And it's
Okay.
very exciting because
I
you're right.
will,
Everything
yeah,
is,
go ahead.
everything is different. Everything has suddenly changed, and the old rules don't apply, the old ways of thinking don't apply, the old sense of reality is different, and especially coming out of the whole COVID years and now the year of the dragon, you might want to bring that in. What
Mhm.
is more ways where we can say, oh yes, this is it? Just tell us what comes to you.
Mhm. Well, I love that because what I was going to bring up here actually goes hand in hand with the year of the dragon. And it's a beautiful energy that is coming into the picture now that has to do with sovereignty.
Mm,
And it has to do with daring to be different. This is the new paradigm that we're opening now. It has to do with autonomy. This is why the North Node is in Aries right now. That means the eclipses we're having are happening in Aries and Libra. This is the eclipses, they activate evolutionary energies for the collective. So our evolutionary energies right now, they are revolving around new leaders. With the
mm,
North Node in Aries and the eclipses happening in Aries this year, we are being pushed to step into an autonomous way of living, an autonomous way of thinking and being. So we can only do that, first of all, with a clear mind and a clear body. If you have a clear mind and a clear body, you're ready. Now, if you don't, you got some work to do and you got to be honest with yourself. This is where it's time to take the rose-colored glasses off. You need to be ready to hold this level of consciousness. You can't just expect that you're going to be here, doing your thing and some angel's going to come and wave a magic wand. And no, you have to be ready. You have to do your part. Clean your mind, clean your body. If you're intoxicated or you're only going to get half the picture. But if you are clean and you show up, this is the perfect time to have that switch happen and you are there to receive this influx
mm,
of energy. So the influx
mm.
of energy coming in right now is very empowering. This is why the year of the dragon is here. As a matter of fact, I will be opening, actually, Alan, on the spring equinox. I'm going to be starting a whole program for the year of the dragon to
Uh,
really activate this fire and this new leadership. And also, how do we deal with the shadow? How do we deal with that aspect of the dragon that we're learning how to transform? So I'm going to be taking people through a process to help activate them, guide them astrologically as well. We're going to be working with Black Moon Lilith energy specifically to help activate. That's where your sovereignty and your power is at. So I'm going to be taking people through a very specific process this year to coach them and guide them to birth this new you that you're becoming.
mm, mm,
So that's what the message is with the year of the dragon, and also with the age of Aquarius, is this aspect of independence and autonomy. So what I've been sharing with people everywhere, my sessions and my interviews, don't try to be one more. If you are a teacher, a healer, whatever, put all of that, the way that you've been teaching, the way you've been healing, the way you've been doing your work is shifting. You can lovingly and gently put it all on the side and get ready to look at everything in a new way.
Yeah.
So this is where I'm calling people to dare to be different, dare to do it different, dare to
Mm.
work as a teacher in a different way, dare to work with healing. There's going to be so many new modalities and ways of working with healing or anything that you
Mm.
have to, the people that are a step ahead and pulling in the new solutions from this new paradigm of Aquarius, these are going to be the next leaders coming up. These are the people that are going to be role models or teachers teaching these modalities to others, but you have to allow yourself to explore the new horizons. So if I'm an astrologer, I've been asking myself this all the time, consistently. Think outside the box, Raquel. Think outside the box. How can you do it different? And
Mm.
allowing my consciousness to expand around that as well. So in my case, astrology. So
Mm.
it does take a certain level of focus on bringing in the new. We're talking about spirituality or a spiritual leader. How can you view that in a different way? Even our
Right.
concept of masters and avatars and all that, even that is changing because our
Mm.
consciousness is changing, like you said. So as our consciousness changes, so does all these other things around
What
us.
you're also saying is that in the age that we're moving in, that we're in now, we can be assisted by the energies of the age to go into the new, to go in. Before, it may have been a struggle to fight the tide, and but now, if you give, it's time to give up those addictions, and you have the help of the energies that are coming to the planet to make those changes easier. This is
Yeah.
what the benefits of the age, and
And the
right?
beauty is that this time the cycles are on our favor, if you will,
Yes.
in the sense that before it wasn't quite time, right? That door wasn't open yet, but we needed people like you to pave the way. But now that we are here, it's time. So there are certain things that have to do with the new paradigm that because it's time, it'll be a lot easier. It'll be
Mm-hmm.
a lot easier to talk about these concepts and really bring the new paradigm in now, because from this year forward, we are, as a society, as humanity, we are ready to receive this information.
That's great. So we are being empowered by the times to make these essential changes that will
Yeah.
be better for us, the world, society, Earth, Gaia, and our connection. So Pisces was a time of fear. It was a time of suffering, time of ad- addictive behavior, which is sort of Piscean, right? To get used to be stuck in the water. And now we're coming out of the water, and the flow
Yeah,
is
all the
fruitful.
signs have their pros and cons, and
Right,
all of
right,
them
right.
have their shadow as well. But one of the attributes of Pisces really is that the dissolution of ego. It really is about the renunciation, if you will, of ego and the physical in many ways. This is why we've had all levels of spirituality and religion kind of going through the same process of renouncing, right? Renouncing the physical. And so even this concept, like I said, of prayer, but even, some of the shadow that can go more into the penance and redemption, the need to atone for things or pray and, and that is all Pisces. And so that's shifting. That is absolutely shifting. So Pisces brought a lot of evolution to us, but now, like I said, we are ready to wake up. And one of the aspects that I am particularly personally noticing is that in the spiritual paradigm, we need to have a level of embodiment. And this is a new paradigm because, and I've been literally using this word embodiment. I even had embodied astrology on my last Conscious Life Expo business card. But this embodiment piece is everything because now it's not about renunciating. And is that how you say renunciating? The
Yeah.
the body or the desires. No, now it's about, now that we've gone through this process of dissolution of ego, now we are ready to come back into the body as spirit refined through the physical body and fully feel and relish every moment and every aspect of being in this body and being human. So this is also a revolution, because there's going to be certain practices, certain lifestyles, certain things that are going to be shifting for us.
Mm. Yeah, no, it's exciting, very exciting the way you talk about and express it and embody it, actually. So,
Very new
uh,
energy. I have to live it before I talk about it. So yeah,
well,
my life, I put these things in practice. Yeah, it's my
you do.
priority.
Just to sort of wrap up, because I can talk to you for hours, and because you're so
Mm.
enthused by the energies of the time that it's constantly flowing through you because you've accessed the Aquarian consciousness and it's speaking through you in a sense. I mean,
Mhm.
there's other shows we can do about the Black Moon Lilith that I want to talk to you about, and we will at some point, because you're a pioneer in that understanding. I think you really are, because not many people are talking about that. But just for now, is there any key dates that you might want to just point out in next year? You did this on the show I did,
Yeah.
the prediction show, but just briefly.
Yes, yes, I will bring this one window. It's a window, okay, that I say it's the best window of the year. The best window of the year, because it's the window where the door is going to be so open from like all directions. And this is the window that is from the spring equinox until the summer solstice of this year, 2024.
Mhm, mhm,
So that is a big window for some people. It may start a little bit before, some people it will go to a little bit after. Some people will be focused in 1 week from that. But this is a window that is available to all of us. And it's really exciting because it's where we start to receive the new energy. So Pluto in Aquarius is one of them. Okay. But Pluto in Aquarius is just the starting point. We're going to have all the rest of the outer planets actually in the following years shift signs. So the transformation is going to continue. But this year we have a very important planet, Jupiter, entering Gemini. So when that happens, this is going to be at the end of May. And then from June forward, with Jupiter in Gemini, is really going to activate Pluto in Aquarius. That's just because Gemini and Aquarius are both air, so they activate each other in a harmonious way. And Jupiter is about expansion. So when Jupiter comes into Gemini, which is communication, okay, amongst many other things, it's going to activate the potential for Pluto and Aquarius to now start to come to life. So Jupiter in Gemini is going to be a very important factor that is going to open many, many doors. This is especially in regard to connecting with family, and also from that place, beginning projects. There's going to be a
mm,
lot of partnerships. There's going to be a lot of new ventures. People, as of now, even as we are speaking here in January 26th, there are people that are even now feeling this, even though they may not be aware of it in this way, feeling the momentum, new people, new connections, new ideas, retreats, books, and new partnerships. And it's just really exciting. But these are not just possibilities. These are actually seeds that are being planted. And in this window of, from the spring equinox to the summer solstice, there will be an acceleration of all of that. So people are going to be finding each other, coming together, opening, contracts, ideas together, ventures together. So it is going to be a really exciting time for
mm,
community, soul family, to find each other, to
mm.
experiment. Remember, we're at the very, very beginning stages. So you are merely experimenting with the new. And this is the window to really go for it.
Isn't Jupiter in Gemini also a kind of Jupiter's power and Gemini is communication? So don't we get an upgrade in the power of communicating, different maybe ways of communicating
Yes.
that we have not suspected before, but it's an empowered time of global communication, it seems like, because of the Aquarian global ideals. So is there something about that technology?
Yes, and let's remember that we are also in the context of breaking from the old and transitioning into the new. So even that Jupiter and all its expansion and glory and power, it also is for most of the year, not yet, but starting soon, it's going to start a square with Saturn, so that square, and it will be there until next year as well. So it is in a square with Saturn. Why? Because this square, I call it the shifts in society. So the square is going to be pushing for that. And it doesn't matter what it looks like on the outside. We are ready to shift rules, shift dynamics. So there is simultaneously this push and pull going on.
What does a
But in
square
that,
mean, though? Just tell me what a square means for the energies when something squares.
oh, oh yeah, it's a 90-degree angle between two planets. So if you
And
look at the planets in a
I
circle,
know, but is that a positive or a negative sort of?
oh, oh, okay, what does it mean? So the square is what pushes something into action. That's it.
Oh,
It pushes
oh,
something into action, and that can be uncomfortable depending on what it is or depending on the person. If you don't want it, or if you have a different idea about things, the square comes and pushes it in action. It's time to step into that. So if it's a
oh,
square with Jupiter and Saturn, here you have Jupiter, right, wanting to expand in truth, wanting to expand in vision, wanting to expand in power. And then you have Saturn, which is the boundaries, the rules, the authority. It's the right way of doing things. And when they both come together in a square, it's a challenge. You got the old here,
oh,
the authority, the society, and it's challenging the growth that Jupiter is bringing inevitably by being in
mhm.
Gemini. So you are seeing aspects of communication also really pushing through this. I really see the leaders here really starting to give a voice, like you, to, we spoke about, you are having some new ideas
Mhm.
in your up your sleeves. So that is a
Yeah.
golden window. This is where our communication is really going to be a catalyst to push the confines of society.
Well,
And that's
that's
just one way
square.
of looking at it.
No, no, no. As you're speaking, I'm realizing there must be some kind of square happening as the UFO information comes out in Congress. There's a whole other set of people behind the scenes that are suppressing the release of information.
Yeah.
And that's sort of that tension of those
But the
two.
difference is that Pluto wasn't in Aquarius before. Now it is. So they're outnumbered by
Mm,
cosmic law. And we don't need to look at it that like from a separation point of view, because
right.
at the end of the day, it's all the same consciousness. But yeah, it is all about timing. And it just so happens that this is the time for people. Aquarius is about humanity. Aquarius is about raising consciousness. So the people that are trying to suppress it, it's like their days are numbered. And even them, a lot of them will be shifting as well, the way that they have held on to their
Right.
beliefs for so long. A lot of them are going to be shifting if they're not
Wow.
already.
It's so exciting just to talk to you and to feel your enthusiasm and your energy because in a way you're selfless. You're out of the way and you're just delivering what's coming through you as a vehicle for the energies actually. That's
Mhm.
why I like talking to you and that's why your work is so important because it doesn't have a personal agenda attached to it. You're just the messenger as you said and
Yeah.
that's fantastic. And I want to do more conversations with you as
Thank
the
you.
year evolves, as your new discoveries, as being infused with the Aquarian energy come online for you as an astrologer, new connections that you are making for the science of astrology will be
Yes.
happening, and then showcase them for sure on the show or other shows that we're doing, so
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure to speak with you, Alan. I love your ability to speak on this level and cognize with me on this level. It's
Yes,
amazing.
it's cognition. It's
Yeah.
cognition that we're unfolding. And cognition is new for all of us because when you cognize something, you're taking it in and you're formulating a neural net of awareness, as Joe Dispenza's term, so you can recognize it once the cognition is made. So we're putting things out for cognition to be encoded and then the recognition can be applied. So, it's a two-step process. And
Yes.
that's
Beautiful.
what your work and my work really coincides. So thank you, dear Raquel.
Thank you.
RaquelSpring.com. Private readings are just phenomenal. Her monthly classes, her tutoring, her mentorship. I just think, you have a great Aquarian career ahead of you. And you've already been doing it, of course, but
Yeah.
people are seeing how you're taking the lead as an astrologer and not going by the books, but creating new realities of understanding astrology.
Yeah.
That's
And applying it,
and
embodying it. Yes.
yes,
We're
embodying it,
embodying astrology. It's not just the cookbook of what's going to happen in my week if I'm a Libra sun. This is about literally embodying the cosmos through astrology and your living human experience. So yeah,
right.
it's my passion and joy. And I too, Alan, I have so much respect for you and the leadership that you've been holding all these years in your field. And just
Mm.
so excited for all of our new beginnings now and this new Aquarian
Yes.
paradigm.
It's a
Let's do
new
it.
beginning for all of us, for
Yeah.
everyone watching, everyone. Like it's time to let go of the old habits. I'm talking to myself, of course. Start to do things differently. Start to think of new ideas, new careers, new possibilities, new avenues that have not been seen. I think Joseph Campbell said, where you thought there were only walls, now there are doors, windows into other realms, other ways of thinking. This is a revolution, and it's way beyond the psychedelic revolution that people are
Yes.
talking.
That's
It's
also Piscean, by the way, psychedelics, and it's all Piscean.
right. It's
We
it's the
went through
end
our
of this
phase
thing
of
because
searching God and spirituality through that, but it's not, it's time to
because
really
our
now.
own biochemistry can create all those
Yes.
chemicals. DMT is an
Yes.
access that happens in dream states, and we can enter the dream time. In the Toltec tradition, they say this is the time of the Nagual sun, the sixth sun. We went from
Mm.
the tonal concrete, which was matter, into the energy, in
Mm.
the way the night, the mystical, and this is the time. And the year of the dragon, what does that signify, dragon energy? Can you just give us a little?
Well, the dragon energy is about that sovereignty. It is about the fierceness. It's okay for us to look at that. That is our power. It's okay for us to understand about that. So, this is why I'm going to be taking people through this whole year of awakening that. First, we need to make peace with our dragon energy, with our dragon fire. And there's a whole process for that. But once you do, then it's about how to access it, how to use it, how to cultivate it, how to maintain it alive. So there are different stages, but the dragon energy really is there to help bring that piece of sovereignty, everything that has been repressed or denied in us or made to seem like it's bad or evil, including magic, which is an attribute of the dragons. So yeah,
Mm,
all that power, all that sovereignty, all that fierceness, which also has to do with the feminine that is coming back.
mm.
So that is the dragon energy coming forth.
Dragons are the totems of the Chinese people. I mean, they are the drag. And so we have to watch China, but also with the Aquarian energy, we might see another revolution in China where the power comes back to the people, sovereignty. Might see that.
Oh, holding
I
that,
mean,
yes, in the highest light.
we'll see.
Beautiful. Yeah, yeah. I know there's a whole other branch of connection with the dragon energy in China for sure. And that's just one perspective that I offered. But it is one that we can access now, as individuals. It really is how do you access your inner dragon and that aspect of sovereignty? And to me, above all, dragons represent, they are the keepers of wisdom, the original keepers of wisdom, that primordial energy that form is only possible because of that energy. So the dragons are very, very, very important when it comes to the beginning stages of creation. They hold
Right.
creation in such a beautiful way.
Creativity, that fire of
Creativity,
creativity. You're
but all
right.
that comes from wisdom. Yeah. So it's very very powerful archetype. And that's what we're waking up in us during this time.
Beautiful. Raquel, bless you. I want to tell people I'm going to be on Scott Katamas's Global Awakening, The Awakening World, this Saturday, the 27th. It's on this YouTube channel, talking about contactees, UFOs, where we're going as a collective, where people are waking up to their contact experience. So check that out. I'm also, me and Raquel and a bunch of other people are speaking at the Conscious Life Expo at consciouslife.com, along with JJ and Desiree Hurtak, and so many more fantastic speakers are going to be at that conference. That's February 9th to the 12th. And then, well, I'll see you in Sedona. We'll see you there.
I know, very soon, very soon. I'll see you soon, Alan.
Thank you, Raquel. Yes. Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone, for
And
watching.
thank you
Thank
all
you
the
for
viewers. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, family, for being here and holding space and sharing hearts and wisdom together, because we're all rising together. It's non-negotiable. It really is. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, everyone on the chat. Thank you. You subscribe, take out a super chat, and thanks always for tuning in. And thank you, Raquel, for your lifelong dedication to levels and levels of truth. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Alan.
Okay.
Thank
Talk to you soon. Bye.